What's up, guys? It's your boy TPP. I'm back with that true crime talk, baby. Let's go. Before we jump into it, though, man, can you do your boy a huge favor? Can you smash that like? And if you haven't already, join the club. Smash that subscribe. It's free to do, and I'd appreciate it if you would do it. I definitely would. All right, guys, let's jump into it, man. And I'm gonna preface this one with a huge trigger warning. This is a big trigger warning. If you're not familiar with this trial, you know what I mean? If you're not familiar, uh, I'm just going to pre-warn y'all. Trigger warning. Big trigger warning, because this one's filled with some bad stuff. And it's the whole reason why I waited till the end of the trial to give my rundown on this, because I couldn't cover this one every day. It was just going to be too much. I'm pretty emotionally tough, and I can handle quite a bit, but this one was pretty heinous, and I didn't want to spread this negativity throughout my channel every day. So the trial ended today, closing arguments ended today, and right now we're on a verdict watch. I actually have my phone right here posted up. I'm watching for the verdict watch to drop at the end of this video. If it hasn't dropped by then, I'm gonna straight up I'll let you know what I think. But anyways, let's get into it. Topic for the video, it's that border patrol, right? Supervisor murder. What does that mean? Well, I mean, what? Huh? Yes, the supervisor border patrol agent has murdered somebody. And let me break it all down on who exactly he murdered and how heinous this whole story is. So this guy, this garbage, RBA, we're going to use his initials because he doesn't deserve to have his name said. He fancied himself, a ladies' man, a big timer, a man of status. And he decided that having a wife and children and a good job wasn't all he wanted. So he went out and found himself a mistress that didn't realize she was his mistress. She just thought they were dating, right? Fed her this whole line that his marriage was, pretty much dissolving, and his wife or his kid's mom no longer lived with him. The kid, none of this stuff. You know what I mean? She didn't really know anything about him besides his name. And, seeing each other, whatever, whatnot, he knocks her up. And doesn't try to get any more serious, still just trying to, see her when he needs, that thing. And, she progresses, has the baby. And for 18 months, I mean, she's literally doing this thing by herself, raising this little boy along with her other child by herself. So, yeah, she's doing her best, going to school to be a nurse and, getting, some supplemental income as far as like, financial aid and whatnot and loans. And she's, having her child taken care of through these loans, and she's going to school. She's trying her best. So about 18 months in, though, she's like, she's struggling, dude. She is struggling, and her sister and her best friend tell her, hey, you need to hit this dude for child support. So she, finally gives in and is like, okay, I'm going to do that. But to do that, she had to do a little reconnaissance, a little sleuthing, had to figure out, exactly what his full name was, had to figure out where he worked, where he lived, the whole nine. So in this process of doing this, she figures out that, oh, dude, this man is lying. His wife and kids are at this house that he supposedly lives by himself at. So at this point, she gets serious with him. Was like, hey, I'm gonna be taking you in to get child support. And he's all okay, let's talk about this before anything, and let's meet up at this park. I want to meet the kid, we'll talk about what's going on. So she meets up with him, right? Borrows her sister's car, she doesn't have one. Goes out, meets up with this dude. And when she goes to meet up with him, she's texting him, this and that. And he's like, okay, you in the white car? And she's like, yeah, so the white car is your sister's car. Yeah, so, there's that being said, it comes up later. He knows what the car is. And, they meet up. And while they're talking, he's holding the baby, and she's like, I need to go get something out of the car. So he's like, oh, yeah, go get it. I'll hold it. So she goes, gets whatever it is out the car, comes back. When she comes back, this baby's screaming bloody murder. He's hurting. Something's wrong with his leg. it's bad. So she's all, freaking out. She's like, well, I need to go home. I need to get him home. I need to get him taken care of. He's all right, whatever, whatnot. And he's like, he must have got bit or something. So she goes, she gets home, she's talking to her sister, this and that. And, she ends up taking the child to ER, urgent care. And they get there and, they kind of relay the message thinking that he got bit by a spider or a bug or something. So the ER kind of starts just giving this general treatment for that. Well, she takes the baby home, still nothing. She's talking to her sister about it and is like, take him to the pediatric doctor. Takes him to the pediatric doctor. Doctor is like basically going off of what the urgent care said and was like looking at it like it's probably a spider or insect bite. So, gives her some medication, antibiotics, this, that, and the third, and sends her on her way. Well, this little baby, he never gets right. He went from being this little rambunctious, 18-month-old little boy, just getting it, running around, to like not being able to walk, having to use a stroller. Like, it's just bad. You know what I mean? And the wound is really bad. It's just like this little hole, like, some bites get, and it's bad. Never gets right. Well, dude's still like not compliant with helping her out. So she's like, all right, well, I got to do this. I'm going to have to like take you for child support. And like, he starts trying to gaslight her and playing mind tricks with her, this and that. And it basically gets to the point where it's all right, you know what, like, let's meet up, so it's after a few weeks and whatnot. And he's like, let's meet up, tells her, let's meet at this park. And, it is what it is. So she's like, all right, yeah, I'm going to go do this. And, I mean, what else choice does she have? Like, she's basically been manipulated to this point anyway. So trying to be nice about it. I'm going to go meet up with him before we go to court over this stuff. So he tells her where to go at this park and everything. So the morning of, she sets up the deal with her sister to use the car. Her sister's like, yeah, you can use the car, but I need you to take me to work. And then after you drop me off, can you go pick up some food for me at Chick-fil-A? So she does that, drops her sister off, goes with the baby, gets to Chick-fil-A, comes back, drops it off to her sister. Her sister, tells bye, I love you, and make sure she knows where she's going and what she's doing, and tells the little boy, I love you and I'll see you later. So, Griselda, her name, make sure, right? Griselda Hernandez, which is the mom. She's like, all right. She bounces. She's heading to the park. She takes a little detour to her best friend's house to use the bathroom, talks to the best friend about what she's doing. She leaves. She goes to the park. She gets to the park, and she gets her stroller out, gets the little boy out, makes her way to this area where she's told to go by this piece of garbage. And as she makes her way into this area, she's attacked. She's ambushed. And trigger warning, guys. She's stabbed 27 times maliciously in the most vital areas, in her neck, in her head, in her arms. Like, dude, it's vicious. And she fights like any mom would, best she can. But she's subdued. Like, it's it. So after she's subdued, she's laying there bleeding out, this human garbage goes and gets this little baby out of the stroller, takes him over to a grassy area, lays him on his back, straddles him. Trigger warning once again, and tries to stab him in the chest. The knife doesn't go over far enough. It hits like a bone or something. So pulls the shirt up on this little baby. And the baby's fighting. You know what I mean? Doing what he can. This man plunges that knife into the baby's chest, and then goes for vital areas on the neck. The baby had no chance. He just leaves the little baby there to bleed out in the grass. So this individual grabs a phone that the baby played with, takes the phone, goes to the mom, gets the mom's phone. So now this individual's got DNA from both people on the phones, right? And then takes these phones with him to his vehicle, where he goes to change before getting into the vehicle to get rid of the bloody clothes. And as he's changing, accidentally brushes up against the bumper, gets blood on the bumper from the baby's DNA, gets in the car, right, after bagging the clothes up or whatever he does with the clothes and then the murder weapon. And he makes his way on over to a church a ways away. He's at this church for about 5 minutes. Digital footprint and surveillance shows. Nobody knows what he does there for 5 minutes. But then, after that, this individual proceeds back to the murder scene. Now, this individual, yes, he is the Border Patrol agent, the father of the baby. This piece of garbage, RBA, because I ain't going to say his name. This is him. So he gets to the crime scene, right? He starts making calls like he found a body. And, of course, Border Patrol and law enforcement starts showing up. And before law enforcement shows up, other Border Patrol's there. And the people that are under him show up, you know what I mean? Like people that he supervises. And they're starting to notice weird things like he's acting a little bit off and he's kind of contaminating the scene. You know what I mean? And so law enforcement shows up to get the scene locked down and, get the coroner out there, get all the proper people out there to get the investigation started. So during the investigation, as it's going off, the investigator sees like that white car on the parking lot and then like trying to figure out who it belongs to. Nobody's there in the area claiming it. So he starts putting, two and two together and was like, must be this lady's car. So they do a check to see if, who owns it. And it comes back as the sister of the deceased, of, Griselda. And they get a hold of the sister while she's at work. They're asking her questions. Is this your car? She's starting to kind of freak out a little bit, like, where's my sister? And he's all, you know what? I'm going to have to talk to you in person. Is there any way you can leave work? Well, she's like, yeah. So about the time she's about to leave work, her husband calls. Well, I guess that one of the detectives had tried to show up at her house, and they saw him on the Ring doorbell cam. So, old man got a hold of him, and then old man calls Griselda's sister, and was like, hey, I'm on my way to get you. So picks her up, and then she meets up with one of the detectives, right, to give the rundown. Like, my sister was in the car, where's my sister, this and that, and then starts telling him, like, she was supposed to be meeting up with the baby's daddy. He's a Border Patrol agent, and gives him the name. And in an instant, the detective realizes, holy, that dude is at the scene. That's the dude that found it. So he's immediately telling the other detectives calling in to the scene, and was like, hey, this is who it is. This is who's there. This is who that lady was supposed to. This is our decedent, and this is who she was meeting up with. So immediately, law enforcement, comes up on him and is like, what's your name? To him, what's your name? And he gives like a partial of his name, right? Like a part of his name can sound a little bit more Caucasian than Hispanic. So he gives that. No, what's your full name, right? And then he ends up giving his full name. And basically at that point, they're like, look, keep your hands off your weapon. One of the other Border Patrol agents has to come up behind him to get his belt off, right? And then they basically take him into custody. Well, they put him in the car, right? And when they put him in the car, they have videos running and audio running. So when he gets in the car, he realizes at this point the phones he had taken and put them in his truck, his actual Border Patrol truck, the one that he had changed brushed blood up against and used to go to the church to dump the bloody clothes and the murder weapon. So he says, telephonos. Bruh, he knows he's hemmed up. He knows he's screwed, right? He'd done like all these things to cover his tracks, but he's screwed. He got the freaking phones with the DNA, boom, right there. And he didn't realize he brushed up on that truck either. And another thing is, one of his, the dills on his utility belt, right, had come off and has blood on it also at the scene. Mud and blood. So, every which way, boom. Like, it's pretty much a wrap at this point. Law enforcement already knows, like, what time it is. So, They get him down to the station. They start questioning him, and this dude's trying to be all alpha, and like acting like he doesn't know what's going on, telling lies. And then basically, you know how it goes. These dudes will all tell lies until proof gets thrown in their face, and then they'll backtrack and kind of modify what they're saying. And dude, basically, the gist of it is this dude did it. That little rundown is basically how that morning went. But this trial, as the trial went through, right, prosecution. The investigation and the prosecution worked seamlessly together, and they were able to get so much evidence. I mean, we have digital footprint putting him everything from the time he woke up, he went to work, right? He did this little meeting he needs to do. He goes home, he gets dressed in the clothes that he ends up committing the crime in. He leaves his house, goes to the park in these clothes, right? Commits the crime, leaves the park, goes to this church, digital footprints, tracking him the whole way. A surveillance video at the church showing that he had showed up there for 5 minutes, and then boom, he's headed back to the murder scene, calling it in. I mean, bro, it doesn't get, the investigation doesn't get much cleaner. I mean, literally every step is on digital footprint and backed up by surveillance photos, cam photos on the freeway. I mean, everything. It shows Griselda getting out of the white car, the stroller. I mean, everything, guys. Absolutely everything. The prosecution had it all. Absolutely had it all on this. It's one of the best I've seen. One of the best investigations, and then prosecution laying it out just perfect. And then come to find out, right? So check it out. A little backtrack here. So I told you about the little, bug bite at the park. Well, after this happens, right, the murder happens, the sister, who's a nurse, starts rethinking, like, man, that bug bite, that whole situation didn't seem right. So she calls the coroner's office and asks them to look into the bug bite on the leg. And she'd already asked the detectives to do it, but some slipped through the cracks. They didn't, relay the message. So she had doubled up, made sure that that message got through. So she does, and the lady, doing the autopsy inspection, all that stuff, she starts looking at the leg, and she's like, this is an injection. This isn't a bite. The deep down into the tissue is necrotic. It looks like an 18 gauge needle injection. Boom. So now investigators go, they're looking through all this dude's stuff, right? And they find in a lunchbox hypodermic needles from this dude's TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, steroids, whatever you want to call it, right? They find needles, 18 gauge needles, which pretty much match up to the hole in this little baby's leg. So, dude, he never got bit that first time. That first time when they first met at the park, the very first time, when she walked off to the car, that mother piece of garbage injected that baby with something. With the syringe, bro. Told you guys, trigger warning, dude, this shit is bad. This is bad. It's a bad one. And, yeah, man, I mean, they broke all this down in the trial. I mean, they broke it all down. They broke down text messages. They broke down. And here's the thing, is a lot of it was Snapchat, but Griselda was smart. She was like photo capturing. Boom. Screenshot all their conversation. So you have all the back and forth between her and her friend talking about the situation, between her and that garbage piece of crap. I mean, like everything, dude. You have everything. Everything. So it's like this dude thought, like, legit, that he was messing around with some girl, got some girl pregnant, and he legitimately thought this woman was keeping everything a secret, and that when he committed this crime, nobody would ever be able to track it back to him. Boy, was he wrong. So not only did she tell her family and friends what was kind of going on, even though she kind of protected him for 18 months, the day of, she let multiple people know where she was going and the name of the individual. So it was like, this dude, top-notch narcissist, and a narcissist on the juice, on the sauce. And I'm not down in TRT. You know what I mean? I'm not down to anybody messing with any of that stuff. But I'll tell you what, You take a narcissist, a sociopath, and you put him on some sauce, bro. You think that dude's got confidence in himself naturally? Now he's gonna take it to the next level. You know what I mean? And that's what he did. He really thought like he committed the perfect setup and plan to get rid of his problem so that his wife would never know. He wouldn't have to like face any scrutiny at work over this, like no backlash at all. Like this dude was literally that sick that he thought he could get away with all this. All of it, man. And I'll tell you what, dude. And like I said, I think after this Scott Peterson trial, like it was an emotional one to watch, and I'm still not happy with the verdict. I kind of made a decision at that point watching that trial. When this trial popped up, I was like, I'm not going to be able to cover this every day. So I'm going to go ahead and just watch it. And at the end, I'm going to give the breakdown. I'm going to, give the rundown on the case, the trial, what happened, the speculations, this and that. And that's the thing with this one. There was no speculations. There was no crazy wild theories. This shit was like, that's it. Like all the facts, all the evidence right there, plain as day. There is no guessing about anything. Like I haven't, like I was saying before, I haven't seen a case in a trial so clean. Like those detectives did an amazing job at sewing up all the information, like figuring out everything. It took them a little while to get all the information in because they gotta like subpoena so much stuff from phone records and this and that, and wait for tests and DNA and all that. But dude, at the end, they packaged that up, handed it to prosecution, and it, in my opinion, it don't get much closer to a slam dunk than what I watched transpire over the last week with this trial. It was an amazing job, and my hats off to those detectives and that prosecution team. Hats off. Dude, you guys are amazing, absolutely amazing. You're going to get this little boy and this mama justice, and yeah, she has a surviving baby. She has another little one who's the older one who doesn't have his mama anymore, and his dad's not a good dude. He's not around either. So at least this little boy doesn't have to grow up wondering like why his mom and his little brother didn't get justice for their lives being taken. So man, much love to the detectives and prosecution on this one. You guys did an amazing job. Absolutely. But guys, I'm telling you right now, like everything, dude. They have everything on this dude. There is no. And check this out. When they put him in the back of that cop car and he said telephonos, like he realized he was screwed. Dude, at one point, this dude, he's literally licking blood off of himself. He's trying to get the blood off of himself. Um, Insane. It's so crazy. And man, I'm not going to lie. I couldn't stand watching this dude in trial. He had the most smug look, but at the same time, it was a look of guilt. This dude didn't want to put his head up. When they were talking about some of the most heinous stuff, you could see in his face, this dude is guilty. And then one of the other things that bothered me too in this trial was at the defense table, you had a lot of attorneys, right? Because this is a death penalty case. This is a death penalty trial. So he had this, I think it's like a human rights lawyer, right? I believe that's what type of lawyer she was. This younger looking girl that was sitting next to him the whole time. But like, I didn't like her, man. I didn't like her at all, dude. She looked like she was comforting this mother. I understand she's there to do her job, but bro, there's a level at which you do the job without the emotion. And she looked like she was like emotionally attached to him. That shit made me sick. Absolutely disgusted in it. That lady is something else, man. That bothered me. But there's a lot of things that happened in this trial throughout the trial that like really made me sick to my stomach. Besides all the details, and I'm glad I didn't get up here and post on it every day because I would have just been so negative every day on videos. It would have been so bad. But so in the future, these really bad ones like this, I might give you the opening, watch the trial, give you the closing, and then give you the verdict watch. Because like I said, man, you listen to the details that I gave you so far. I mean, and that's pretty much the meat of it. I mean, how? How could you not be upset by it? How could you want to report on that every day? It's just Whew, guys, it was bad, absolutely bad. But I mean, literally, if you want more, if you this little rundown and my breakdown on the trial and like giving you guys all the info on it, if you want like more to it, if you want like a more descriptive breakdown, just go to the last day of the trial on Law and Crime, right? Which is today. It's the last day, and go look at the closing by prosecution. Because it basically is the timeline. It's a breakdown. It's all the important facts and evidence in this trial, and it's pretty much everything I told you, but packaged a little bit nicer. In the prosecution, the individual that did the closing, amazing job, absolutely amazing job, because this is such an emotional case. You know what I mean? There's no way like you can't be emotionally conflicted by it. So the way that he was able to hold himself together and really deliver a beautiful closing argument, it was something else. So I definitely implore you, if you want some more details and just like that breakdown to see some visual like timeline stuff and videos, go watch the closing arguments from today. But as of right now, looking at the screen and we're still on verdict watch. And I don't even know why we're still on verdict watch. I feel like maybe it's just taking them that long to fill out the paperwork. But this man needs to get hit with all charges. And then the judge, I hope he gets the death penalty. Dude, I hope and pray to God this man gets a death penalty. He more than deserves it. More than deserves it. rough one, guys. This is a rough one. This is definitely a rough one. But I'll tell you, I haven't seen a trial in a while have this much evidence against the perpetrator, against the defendant. Um, and I'm glad they had it all. I'm glad they did. They dug and got everything together and left no stone unturned, because that's what it takes to get the kind of conviction in a death penalty case that you want to get. And I feel like they did enough, man. I really do. I truly, truly do. And it was weird because like the only defense that the defense put up was they tried to question the lady that was breaking down the injection wound, right? It was like that was literally it. They try to like run her down and question her background, and it was pretty pathetic, and they did her wrong. She was an awesome lady. She got up there and really gave a full rundown on what that little baby suffered from, and then also the wounds and just everything, man. She did an amazing job. So screw the defense for doing what they did to her. I know you got a job to do, but man, you went at that lady knowing your client's guilty as hell. And I don't know, you got some special karma waiting for you on that one, bro. For sure. Everybody that was sitting at that table and allowed that to go on that way. But yeah, guys, this is definitely one of those trials and those cases where this is a waste of oxygen, and I'm all for the death penalty. I'm all for that eye for an eye, and yeah, this man needs to not be breathing real quick, real fast, in a big hurry. But yeah, guys, I don't know what else to say on this one. We're running up on 30 minutes on this video. I hadn't planned on it going that long, but it just, unless I sat down and scripted the whole video, which y'all know I don't like to do. I like to keep it 100, off the cuff. It's hard to not, get off track a little bit. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up, and definitely the moment that verdict comes in, I will throw a short together, either a short video or I'll do a short and let you guys know what the verdict is. But I'm hoping before this day is up, they come back with that guilty verdict. I don't see why it would take them more than today to come back with it. It doesn't make sense for them not to be done already. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. That's the trial. That's the situation. Those are my feelings. Screw this guy. Prayers to that little baby. Prayers to that mama. Prayers to that family. Prayers to that little boy that no longer has his mom or his brother. I have blessings to that little one. Hope his life turns out amazing. But that being said, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. That's it. Until next video, it's your boy, the Piscine Predator, aka TPP baby. I'm out, y'all. Much love. Peace.